Traders Corner is proudly brought to you by IG, the specialists in CFD trading.
Welcome to Traders Corner. This is the penultimate show of the year, and joining me as always is Garth McKenzie, founder and editor of Traders Corner. Garth, nice to have you in studio.
Yes, nice. Hi, Julieta.
So we've only got 2 shows left, and this show is going to be where we detail the handover that we make to charity, as we always do at the end of the year, and also have a look back at some of the trades. Garth, but just to start off with, 42%, that was the return that 2014 delivered.
Yeah, 42%. So it's been good. Look, the previous 2 years were a bit better. We were 52 last year and 53% before that in 2012. So 42% is still a good number. I must say I'm very happy with that. And as you'll see at the end of these slides that we're going to talk about today, we've actually beaten the market by a very handsome margin this year.
So it gives us a chunky donation to charity. Let's take a look at the charity that we chose this year, in addition to the previous charities we've chosen to hand over the cash. This year, founder Garth McKenzie chose a new charity with which to share the spoils, Ripple Reading. It's a non-profit, volunteer-aided program begun by former career woman Rihanna Robinson to jumpstart reading skills for underprivileged children.
I thought that you guys were really deserving as a recipient of some of the money that we've made this year. So on behalf of Traders Corner, it gives me great pleasure to give you a donation of 40,000 Rand of this year's trading profits. I did the EFT into your bank account this morning. There's the proof for you.
Thank you so much.
And it's really wonderful to be able to assist you and come on board and see you grow. And I really look forward to doing more of these donations for you guys in the future.
Wonderful, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody of Traders Corner that have assisted you to make your success. And I know you're brilliant at what you do. So it just means the world for us, because this makes us sustainable for the year ahead.
The program is run primarily out of Nooitgedacht School in Johannesburg's north, close to Cosmo City and the sprawling informal settlement of Zandspruit near Lanseria. Using phonographics, computer technology and determined volunteers, Ripple Reading is producing some stupendous results.
30 children started in March, and of that 30, 15 went to our Stetford. We got mostly gold, and Opang got a special trophy at the Stetford in Roodepoort in the Sandton region, meaning he competed with all the Sandton schools, private and government. Child that couldn't read in March got a trophy for doing so brilliantly, with other children that have been reading for 2 years. So we've had excellent success.
Volunteers like Elise Bates, a former drama teacher and newsreader, share their love of communication with the students, boosting their confidence and ability.
The moment you inject the real life into it, it comes to life with a child, and they don't concentrate so much on that wooden, belaboured sort of, churning it out. When they come to life, they live it, and they learn so much more easily.
Ripple Reading is a quiet haven in which the children can explore their love of words and find sanctuary. It also identifies learners with academic, sporting and leadership abilities and helps place children in private and well-run government schools, mentoring them through their high school years. Garth, a very cool charity to choose, and you've also chosen Princess Alice Adoption Home, Gerald Fitzpatrick. They'll get the remainder of the cash that you've made this year.
Yes, that's right. Just to clarify that for any viewers that are wondering, we said in that package there that there's 40,000 Rand which was donated to Ripple Reading, which I've done. The remainder of this year's profits will be split between the previous 2 charities that we've always supported, as you said, Gerald Fitzpatrick House and the adoption home, at Princess Alice Adoption Home. The reason I haven't done those 2 donations as yet is because we're still waiting for next week's futures closeout, where our options structure, our dreaded options structure, will finally come to fruition, and we'll know exactly how much money we've made for the portfolio by then. But we did cut off the portfolio, for all intents and purposes, at the end of last week, where we were up 42.5%. So that's 106,000 Rand that we had at that stage. I just need to see exactly how we finish off at the end of the futures closeout to then make the remaining 2 donations.
Well, let's hope it's chunky. Garth, let's have a look then where you started the year and some of the winners, the losers, and as we do go generally a histogram of the year's trades.
Yes, well, that's right. It's nice to look back at the end of a year and examine how we traded and what sort of statistics we managed to achieve, and then also to weigh that up against the goals that we set for ourselves at the start of the year. So what you see on the screen now is just a summary. We started the year with 250,000 Rand, as we do at the beginning of each year.
Yeah.
This is money that I put up as trading capital for the show, and we then trade that throughout the year, utilizing the proper trading principles that we try and teach on the show. And that's what Traders Corner is all about at the end of the day. We've managed to grow that capital by 42.5%, so we finished the year with 356,000 Rand, and obviously those profits then get donated to charity, as you saw there. So it's been a good year all round. And we can delve in a little bit deeper into those statistics to see how that profit figure was arrived at.
Oh, because it's worth, as you say, there you've got the total trades, only 27. That's, some people might say, wow, that's so little, given, what you could have done. You could have done a trade every day if you wanted. But I think that was part of the point, is not rushing into trades, being patient and seeing the higher probability trades as they arrive.
Yes, that's correct. We always try and be patient, wait for the right trade setups to appear. Obviously, there are way more opportunities than this, but the thing is we also only record this TV show once a week, and we try and do one trade per week, or some weeks we don't even do a trade if there's nothing glaringly obvious to me. So we've done 27 this year. What's interesting is 17 of those were winners, so 63% of our trades were winners, which is quite a good number. Losing trades, 7 of those were losing trades, and that amounts to 26% of the trades that we did. And then we had 3 break-even trades, and those break-even trades really were option structures that we did which expired worthless for us. And obviously we've got one on at the moment which looks like it's going to make money for us with this current futures closeout. What's interesting to note, and we'll be talking about this more on next week's show, is of those losing trades, we had 7 losing trades. 4 of those would have been absolutely catastrophic for our portfolio had we not cut those. And I'm going to dedicate next week's show to the importance of looking after stop losses. And I'll show you how 4 trades that we did this year, trades in Anglo Gold, Sasol, and a pairs trade with resources against financials and industrials. Those trades, had we not stopped them out and had we not been disciplined, we would have literally wiped out every cent of capital we have in these accounts. So it's very, very interesting to note. And it talks to the point of how important stop losses are. And it's a big reason why we've made money this year, is that we've kept the losses small. I mean, it's, if you get just over 50% of your trades, the ideal split, I suppose, is 60-40. And when I say ideal, because it sounds like, oh, you'd want to get at least 90% of your trades right, but it's not easy. And so it seems that the kind of percentage of trades that were good trades you must be quite happy with that. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I mean, my aim is always to try and get 65% of my trades as winners. And the thing to remember about trading is it's not about being right all the time. It's about obviously trying to be right as much as you possibly can, but also when you are wrong, keep the losses small. That's very, very important. Let's have a look at how much you risked or how much capital you put into those trades. There you go, the collective and winners and losses. Well, this is it. So now our average winner on this show, of those 17 winners, the average capital gain that we incurred on each of those was 3.32% of capital. And the average loss on our losing trades was minus 1.74% of capital. Now, obviously, we had a lot more winners than what we had losers, so that also helps to bolster the performance. Collectively, our winners added 56% to capital, and the losses added, or rather deducted, 10.4%. So, and obviously, there's an element of compounding as well. So, I mean, our results at the end of the year is plus 42%. But you can see what contribution the winners made and what contribution the losses took off of that portfolio. And Garth, just a point on an average yield or gain of 3.3%. It doesn't sound huge, but when you add them up, and I think this is a point that you've made before, don't try and get every trade to be spectacular. If you sort of chip away at it and they all kind of add up, by the end of the year, then you sit with a 42% return, which collectively is pretty spectacular. Exactly. I mean, that's it. We had 17 winners of average of 3.3% each. So you multiply 3.3% by 17, and suddenly you've got a pretty meaningful number. Yeah. And then what's left is to just make sure that the trades that don't work, you cut those losses very, very quickly. And moving on, I think you've got a histogram, don't you? Yes. Next, we've got a histogram, and I always love looking at these because it's a great graphical way to break down your trades for the year. And what you just to explain this to the viewers, what it is, every trade is illustrated what's named at the bottom of this graph here. And then on the left-hand side here, we've got the percentage of capital, what we made. So that's obviously 0% there. Above the line is profits, below the line is losses. Now, the red bars that you can see over here, that indicates the amount of risk that we took on each trade. In other words, how much of our capital were we willing to lose on each trade if our stop loss was hit. And you'll notice that never do we ever risk more than 2% of our trading capital on any trade. Now, the green bars are then the results. What happened? Yeah. Did we make a profit? Did we make a loss? And the key also that when you make losses, the amount of the loss should never be more than what the risk that you assumed was. And you can see we were quite strict about that. So these couple of losing trades over there, the losses were well contained, which is very important from a trading perspective. And then obviously you want your winning trades to be illustrated by long, tall bars to the upside. You want your histogram to look like the New York City skyline with lots and lots of tall skyscrapers. Now you can see we had lots of nice tall skyscrapers this year and a couple of small stubby little losses, which is exactly how a histogram should look. And if you actually take the averages, which we've already discussed, but you can see it there illustrated by those dotted yellow lines. So our average gain for the winning trades was 3.3%, and our average loss on the losers was minus 1.7%.
So pretty good all round. Garth, and if you compare it to the market, it looks even better.
Yes, well, this is a graph I'm very proud of, I must say. So this is now the 250,000 Rand that we invested at the beginning of the year into this Traders Corner portfolio. The yellow line is our portfolio that we've traded throughout the year, and then the blue line at the bottom here is the JSE All Share Index. If you had have taken 250,000 Rand and invested it in the All Share Index, that's how it would have performed. And you can see that there's been a significant outperformance by our portfolio right from the beginning of the year, and that outperformance has just continued throughout the year. And we ended the year with 356,000 Rand in our portfolio. Had that money been invested in the All Share Index, it would be 265,000 Rand. So a massive, massive difference that you can see here by actively trading the market as we did this year.
Of course, the All Share Index is so weighted towards resources stocks, so that really, I guess, is where people lost out, and it does kind of point to an active strategy rather than a passive one, even though, you know, the tracker funds are still great products.
Yes. Yeah, look, I mean, there's always the debate, active versus passive, and I think there's a place for both strategies in any investment portfolio. Also remember that we're trading with a relatively small amount of money here. You know, your big investment funds can't, you know, buy and sell as actively as we do on this portfolio. So of course, the type of strategy that we employ with a small amount of capital is fine if you've got a small amount of capital, but it would become very, very difficult to replicate this if you were, for example, managing a couple of billion Rand.
Yeah. Garth, so I mean, if you go back to what your goals for the year were, just talk us through them and how you feel that you stacked up against those.
Yes, we start the beginning of the year every year with a couple of goals, and my goals each year generally are the same, which seem to work. And these are the ones that I try and strive for. So the first being that I want to try and get 65% of my trades correct as winners. Yeah. Now, how did we stack up against that? Well, 63% of them were winners in the end. So not bad. I think we were more or less on target there, and I think we can give ourselves a tick for that. The next goal is that my winners should be on average 3 times larger than what my losers are. And this year, the winners were 2 times larger. So we had approximately, winners were twice the size of our losers. I've given a cross there, a red cross. I don't think that's good enough. I would like to try and strive to get closer to the 3. Which is what our goal is every year. And then the last goal was to be patient for high probability trades and to not force trades. And I think we did that successfully this year. As you alluded to earlier, we did 27 trades this year in 48 weeks worth of trading. So, I mean, it's not like we were forcing trades by any stretch of the imagination here. So I think we were pretty patient to wait for the high probability setups.
Garth, I guess we'll probably talk about the goals for 2015 in next week's show, but that's essentially where we leave it tonight. So overall, chuffed with what you did? I mean, it wasn't as good as last year. Last year, I think our gain was just over 50%.
Yeah.
But are you happy with how it panned out?
Yes, I am happy with how it's panned out. It's been a good year overall, and you can see we outperformed the market handsomely. We had a nice chunk of change to give to the charities that we support. So all in all, yes, a good year. I'm happy.
Yeah. And it could have been bad, and that is where we leave it, because that is going to be next week's show. Garth, thanks as always for joining us this evening.
Thanks.
That's Garth McKenzie, founder and editor of Traders Corner.
Traders Corner is proudly brought to you by IG, the specialists in CFD trading.